Hey guys, this is Ed from Mission Impossible. Welcome back to my Atari Assembly programming series. This is episode 12. I know it's been a while, but I am back. We have a lot to cover today, so let's get into it. So last time we had this setup where we have a character that can move around on the screen. It's using hardware scrolling, but there's a couple problems with that. One, the amount of RAM that it takes up. When we're dealing with the hardware scrolling, what we're going to have to do is have a big canvas to be able to scroll around on. And that takes up quite a bit of memory. In fact, for our map, we'd actually have to have double the amount of memory taken up for the map just for the canvas. And the reason why for that is because if you remember, each map tile equates to a left and right character. Another issue with it is the fact that if you have a display list that goes over a 4K boundary, you get into some weird glitches when the player goes from one area to another. We don't notice it in this particular example, but it is something that doing some testing, it came up, and a couple people commented on the last video, is how to deal with this. Another thing that we can't do very easily with the hardware scrolling is to mask the play area. I'll show you what I mean here. You look here, we have a play area that has been masked, so we only see a certain section of it. This is great for if the player has a torch, so it can only see a certain amount of space as opposed to more of the area. So what we're doing with this is we're actually copying each time we move, actually each cycle, we're copying the data from the map to the screen buffer. And it works really well, actually. So that's actually what we're going to be doing today. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to rename canvas to screen. So I'm going to just go ahead and do a full-on search and replace canvas for screen. And the next thing we're going to want to do is update our display list. We don't need all of this stuff anymore, but we still need to be able to tell the LMS here where our screen buffer is. So we're just going to put that in there. And we're going to put it basically back the way it was originally. So we're going to do we're just going to do a bunch of these. I believe we want 12 total Antic 5s. So okay, we can get rid of all this. Okay, back to simple display list. We're not going to be messing with that. Okay, so let's also remove this stuff here that's going to be messing with the display list. We don't want to be messing with that. So let's just check to see if it works. Output's not going to be right and it's not going to move around, but that's okay. It works. We're going to get to a lot more next. Okay, so we now have a new display list. And what we're going to want to do here is I'm going to take some of this stuff that we have in the copy map to screen, and I'm going to make a new function for that. And so let's call this proc blit screen. Okay. And let's see. We're also going to want to move these up top, these map pointers and screen pointer. I want to kind of keep track of these in a more global location as opposed to just in one of those functions. So I'm just going to put this up here. We're going to have a lot more of these this episode, but for now, these map pointer and screen pointers, those look good. And we can do some cool stuff like that to make them all line up. Might as well, right? Make it look nice. All right. And we're also going to want to copy the map to the map pointer. We're going to be writing those to the 0 page addresses for map pointer and screen pointer. So those are 92 and 93 for map pointer, and 94 and 95 for screen pointer. Okay, so we are going to be using a very similar style, because this is, we had this already to be able to load it in a map tile and then move it to the screen. So we're going to be doing that same exact thing here, but we're going to create it as a macro, because we're going to be doing this a lot. So let's make our macro. We're going to start off, it's called macro, and we're going to do blit tile. So this is going to take one tile from the map, and it's going to copy it, both the left and right characters, to the screen. Okay. So we're going to first load in the map pointer, comma Y. So this is going to load in whatever is sitting at the map pointer, which is currently 3000. So it's at the very top of the map. And so if we look right here at our map, we have a 0. I'm going to put in a 1 here so that we can make sure that this is going to work, because 0 would be nothing. So we're going to load in the tile from the map, which the first character is going to be 1. And then we're going to multiply it by 2. To get the left character. If you remember, the way it's encoded is each number in the map equals 2 characters in the screen, and it's left and right. So a 1 becomes 2 and 3, a 2 becomes 4 and 5, etc., etc. So now what we're going to do is we're going to store that at the screen pointer. Store the left character. Then what we're going to do is we're going to increment the screen pointer. So that's just going to move it 1 character over. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add 1 to the character to make it the right-hand character. This is a macro here, add. It's actually clear carry and ADC. We can just leave it as add 1 to get right character. And then we're going to store that in the screen pointer as well. Okay. Trying to be better about making comments. I was going through some of this code that I haven't touched in a while, and had to decode it quite a bit. So I'm like, let me put some comments this time. So the next thing we need to do here is we need to advance the screen pointer and advance the map pointer. And we could do this, okay? So the problem with just incrementing these is the fact that we are dealing with a 16-bit address. And these increment operators are just dealing with the low byte of these 16-bit numbers. And the problem is that it will roll over to 0 and not actually increment the high byte. So what we need to do is we actually need to do we need to add 2 16-bit numbers, technically only an 8-bit number to a 16-bit number. And so the way we do that is we do an LDA of map pointer, and just say map pointer. And then we're going to add, we can clear carry, and we can add 1. Well, actually, we don't need to clear carry. We can just say add 1 to it. After adding the 1, we're going to store it back. And then what we're going to do is we're going to check to see if the clear carry is set. And we're going to branch if the clear carry, if the carry is clear. And that means, so we're going to say no carry. We're going to skip over the next part of this, which is going to be to say, if there's a carry, what we're going to do is we're going to load in. Actually, all we need to do is we need to increment map pointer +1. So what that's going to do is it's going to say, if the carry flag is set, it's going to run this. If the carry flag is not set, it's going to jump over to no carry. Now, this is kind of awkward because we do this a lot. So there's actually a macro built into MADS called ADW, and that will add two 16-bit numbers together. And so all we need to do with that is just do map pointer and then +1. So we're going to say advance the map pointer, and we can say advance the screen pointer. Advance the map screen pointer. Okay, so we don't need any of that. And we're going to do end M. Okay. And so now what we're going to want to do is we're going to just to start off, we're just going to blit this one tile to the screen. So I'm just going to run blit tile. And that's going to be the upper left-hand map of the map, and then to the upper left-hand of the screen. So a couple things we need to do before we can run this is we need to make sure to set Y to 0. And the reason why is because if you look at the blit tile macro, there's a comma Y after these. These are all offsets. We need to make sure that they are set to 0. Other things, other functions might use Y, and we want to make sure that Y is set to 0 because we actually don't want to have any offset for any of these. They're always going to be at 0. Also, another thing we need to do is we need to put an RTS at the end here so that we've ended the function. So let's go ahead and assemble and test. And there we go. We have one square, one tile on the screen. And we can actually do this because it's going to advance the pointer. We can actually put in a couple of them. So let's see what this looks like. So 2, etc. So I actually, let's see, if we look at the map, I actually added 4 of these. So eventually we'll get to a point where we're zeros. That's okay. So what we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to create our circle. And if we look at something like this, we can see that we want to have something with a radius of about 4. So this number 9 here is what we're going to want to do. So in order to do that, we're going to want to create some macros on here to be able to easily build this. Okay, I'm going to create a macro called blit line. Okay, now calling things or naming things is hard. I guess I'm going to call it circle line. It's a little awkward, but what we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to use basically arguments, and we're going to say how big the section is going to be, like what we're going to actually blit to the screen, and we're going to want to say how much we're going to move in the map, as well as how much we're going to move in the screen. Let me just write this out so I can show you. So we're going to want to add to the map pointer. And the way we do this is we say map space. Okay, so this is going to be the first line in this guy right here, okay? So if we were to plot this on the center of our screen, we have, so just to kind of get back to just to remind you, our screen width is 19 characters or 19 tiles wide by 11 tiles high. So actually, let's make a equate for that just so we have it. Let's put it right. So these are going to be just not memory locations. These are just going to be actual values. So I'm going to say screen width equals 19, and then screen height equals 11. And we're also going to want to know actually how wide the actual screen is, because this is 19, it's over 1. We wanted to have it be centered on the screen. And so what we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to know the full width. So screen character width is going to be 40, because there's 40 characters wide. Okay, and let's go back down. And so for this picture, we've got, if we were to write this in, let me just kind of make a diagram here on the screen of 19 characters wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 17, 18, 19. We're going to want to be filling up these center parts of the line. Okay, so we have on the very top we have 5, right? So let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we want to make sure it's even. So we've got 7 on that side and 7 on that side, and so we're going to be doing this, for each one of these lines, and we want to be able to say we're going to want to move over this many characters. So we're going to move over in the map. We're going to move over 7 spaces. That's what we're going to be calling our thing right here. So let me just go ahead and remove that. We're just going to call blit circle line. We're still working on. It's going to be 5 spaces wide. Okay, we're going to move over 7. It's going to be 5 spaces, but then we have the map space, which we're going to put in. Do we put commas or not? Yes. Okay. So we're going to move over 7, and we're actually going to move over 7 over here as well. So that's fine. And then we're going to be moving over 14 in the screen, because if you remember, each one of these tiles is 2 characters. So we're going to be doing that. I'm just going to go ahead and just comment that, leave that there. So what we're going to do is we're going to move over the that many characters on the map, and then we're going to move over as well. Now, one of the things we could do here is multiply by 2, but I'm not sure. I don't think that it'll like doing this because it's not a fixed number in this kind of case. So it's actually a variable, so I guess we can't really do it here. We could do math with it, but that's kind of annoying. We don't need to mess with that. So we're going to move over 7 characters in the map, 14 characters, 14 bytes in the screen. And now what we're going to do is we're going to load in the body number. So that is going to be the 5. Okay, so we're going to load that into X. You're going to create a loop. You're going to run blit tile. And we're going to decrement the X register. And then we're going to loop, B&E loop. So in other words, it's going to go through for every time the X is set to 5, and it'll just go down to 0. Okay? And when that's done, we're going to want to add to the screen pointer screen space. So this is going to be the right-hand side of the circle line. Okay? And we're going to want to add to the map pointer as well. So map space. And because that's a little bit awkward, let's put that there, just because I don't like it being one way, on the top and a different way on the bottom. And now what we're going to need to do And actually, we need to do something a little different with this because we're going to be moving over on the map this many spaces, but we're also going to be wanting to move over to get to the next line of the map. That's one thing we haven't talked about as far as the map width and the map height. Okay, in here, this is 64 lines by 64 wide. So we're going to move over in the map space. So we're going to say map width, and these are where we can do some calculations. Screen width, minus screen width. So this is going to be 64 minus 19 to be able to get to the next line. Okay. All right. So this gets us to the end. You know, this map pointer over here adds us to the end of this section here, which is the end of the screen line basically. And this is going to get us to the rest. You know, get to the next line in the map. And we're also going to have to do something similar to the screen pointer. So we're actually going to, instead of adding the screen space, we're going to add it all the way until we get to the next line of the screen. So we're going to do screen character width, which is why I set up that variable earlier, minus the screen width multiplied by 2. So the screen width is 19 multiplied by 2. It's going to be 38. So this is just going to be 2, but that's okay. And then the nice thing about this is if we need to change the screen width for whatever reason, we don't have to worry about hard-coded numbers. So we want to advance the screen pointer all the way to the next line as well. So we're going to do end M, and let's see, I don't think we need this here, but what we do need to do is we need to move down a couple of lines so we have some blank lines. So we can use ADW, screen pointer, screen character width times 2, and then ADW map pointer, map width times 2. So this is basically moving 2 lines down. All right. So this is the top line. So if we look at our picture, we can see that the next line is 1 bigger, okay, on both sides. So it's actually 2 bigger. And so what we can do here is we can just copy and paste. So it's going to be 7 wide. And we need to reduce this to 6 because it's on both sides, and then this to 13, or this to 12, sorry. So this is going to be the second line. So I'm going to say first, well, no, that's going to be dumb to say first, second, third. So we're going to do the next line. So this is going to be, if we look at the picture again, it's going to be even, it's going to be 2 more. So we're going to say 9, and then we're going to move over 5 and 10. Now these are the top 3 lines of this, okay? So this one, and this one here. Now, with the next 4 are going to be just the same exact thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste these. So we got 5 lines of 9, and then we're going to have the reverse. So we're just going to put that one there, and that one there. Okay. And so we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines here. So we should be good to go there. So we're also going to need to advance the screen pointer for the other side. So we're going to do screen space. So we've advanced the map pointer, and then we've advanced the screen pointer. This is the left, or this is going to be the right-hand side of the line for the map, right-hand side for the screen, and then this will make it so that it goes to the next line in the screen, and this will make it go to the next line in the map. So let's see how that looks. Okay, so we're missing the top parts, and that's because in the map file this is blank at zeros. We could actually clean that up a little bit to make it sure it looks right here. If we look, we've got nothing right here. So let's just, for now, let's just put a bunch of walls in here, just so that it looks right. Should I just copy paste? Because otherwise it's kind of confusing looking. I think when we end up doing the map generation, let's make sure that everything looks good over there. Yep. I think when we do the map generation, it's probably just going to be walls everywhere. So we don't have that kind of issue. Let's see what this looks like. Boom. Okay. So we now have it's looking like an actual circle here, and we're in the center. Very cool. All right. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of this kind of content, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. I post new videos all the time and I wouldn't want you to miss any. If you'd like to see more of this series, be sure to click up here. And if you'd like to see something else, be sure to click up here.